What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to tonight's live. It is time for the Savvy Systems Sister podcast. It is time for our Sunday night live recording. I am so excited to have you all here with me on this beautiful Sunday. And y'all, let's get into it. So now I don't know about you. Before we even dive into all the content, I don't know about you, but the way this pollen the way these allergies have been trying to take me out. Has that been happening to you? Let me know if the pollen is coming for you like it's been coming for me because it's been real serious in these streets, okay? Um and if it is coming for you, I hope that you find a system that is going to bring you some peace. I have finally found mine. Flonase in the mornings, Zazol at night, a little nasal rinse from time to time makes me just fine. So I hope that whatever regimen, routine, system you need to create to give yourself some peace this allergy season, you do just that. All right, we getting real tonight. We getting all the way real. We getting all the way raw because here we are, March 29th. The quarter is only 2 days left in this quarter, which means in 2 days, we're going to be in quarter two. And you are looking at your list of things that you said you were going to do in quarter one, and there are so many boxes. Either you were just really ambitious or you just didn't do nothing. Either way, either way, no judgment here. Either way, there are some things that you said you were going to do in quarter one that haven't happened yet. And because they haven't happened yet, you have been looking at yourself sideways or beating yourself up or like you've gotten down a little bit about it. And I'm here to tell you that that's number one, that's okay. Y'all hear the planes flying over my house? That's okay. This is what I want you to reframe that as. When we don't hit all of our goals, that is nothing but feedback. It is not failure, it is feedback. So when you don't hit your goals, now you know the actions that you have to take. We've got some data. Okay. So for all my teacher folks out there, right before a big test, right before that big test here in the state of Virginia, we call it the SOL test. We have taken all this data all year long, those formative assessments, those summative assessments all year long, those are just data. They give us some good information about what we need to do so that we can adjust the play before we get to the big test in the spring. So, if you did not hit all of your goals in quarter one, that is okay. That is feedback. And now you can look at that feedback and you can adjust the play so that you know what movements, what steps, what things you need to tackle once you get into Q2. I think also looking at Q1 allows us the opportunity to think about our own habits. So, talking about that personal piece, think about our habits so that when we are planning and we're thinking about Q2, we have a better, we can adjust a little bit better. Let's say that. So, and we can pick up better habits if we need to. Okay. Again, it's not failure, it's feedback. So I want to start by telling you dun, 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 that for tonight's live, I did not want to just give you a bunch of points and then you walk away with them. What I want to do is I want to give you a workbook. And this workbook is going to have some reflection questions with it So, as you are watching this video, either live or on the replay, you have some reflection questions that you can go back. So while I'm talking, I want you to take notes in the margins, but then I want you to go back and I want you to actually answer these questions and I want you to answer them honestly. Like, don't be like, what were my top goals? One, two, three. All eyes on me. No, I want you to get real honest with yourself, which is actually the first thing, the first point. And I want you to answer the questions truthfully as you are going through this. So I'm going to drop the um, link to the questions in the comment section. You should see it in the comment section. Kind of looks like that there. And let's dive in. So, as you are thinking about Q2, a couple of things I need you to know. Number one, yes, it is so important for you to do an audit. Why do you need to audit your Q1? You need to audit your Q1 so that you get that feedback so that you can decide, hey, am I in alignment? And if I'm not in alignment, what adjustments do I need to make so that I am moving in alignment with the will of God and in the way that God has called me to move? So, how are we going to do that? So, I'm going to flip over to the workbook because I want you to see it. And it's really simple. Just a few questions to answer, like a whole bunch, because I got a little, like, I want them to know this, and I want them to know this, and tell them this, and this, and this, and this, and all the things. All right. So, let's dive into the workbook. So, when we are auditing our Q1, the first thing that we want to think about is that we want to get honest with ourselves. Like, I mean, super honest with ourselves. What is it that you attempted or that you desired to do in Q1? And this doesn't have to just be business related, this could also be personal related. Maybe you wanted to lose 10 pounds in the first quarter. Maybe you wanted to set up a system for your finances in quarter one. Um, so it doesn't just have to be business related. This could also be personal related when we're thinking about this audit. And honestly, you really should do an audit for both your business and your personal so that you are moving with intention in both areas of your life. Um, then I want you to think about not only what were your goals for Q1, I want you to think about what is it that I actually did. All right, so now I didn't work out what I wanted to do, but what did I do? And I think that sometimes it doesn't feel like we've done a lot, right? But then when we sit back and we actually write down all the things that we did accomplish, we surprise ourselves. Like, girl, you did that. So when you make that list, I want you to look at it like, girl, I did that. Then I want you to think about what things did you avoid or what things did you like push to the back burner while you were in Q1? And think about what was the things that you spent the most time on as you were moving through the quarter. So the first part of the workbook and the first thing is really to just get honest with yourself. Yes, there's a little bit of feeling in there, but most of this is just facts. And so we need to sometimes take the feelings out or remove some of it so that we can look at it with a different lens. So when we have those feelings in there, girl, you be judging yourself like nobody's business. But when you take a step back and you see what you actually accomplished, then you can stop judging yourself and you see, I actually did more than I thought I did. not gonna tell you what the big one for me is, but maybe one day. All right, now after you've gotten completely honest with yourself, I want you to answer the question, was the quarter easy? So was or was it just busy? Like did you do a lot of busy work this quarter or did you do things with ease? I want you to pay attention to the things that felt easy for you and the things that felt energizing for you. Because if they felt easy and they felt energizing, especially those things that um, give us energy, we want to fit more of that into Q2. But those things that are heavy, that are draining, that we have to force ourselves to do, you may not be ready to hire a team yet, but know that that time in your business is coming. So those are the things where you need to delegate. And again, this could be personal as well. I hate laundry, hate it with a passion, do not like folding it. So maybe that's something that I can delegate to my children because they can do that. Maybe I'm just folding my clothes and they're folding theirs. They are 7 and 16. It's time for them to take some responsibility here. Okay. Also, I want you to think about where you're overcommitted. Y'all, I had math night. It was last week, and it was definitely an overcommitment on my part. I definitely could have delegated more when it came to all the activities and all the things. So think about where you overcommitted. Also, think about where you were a people pleaser. I don't know about you. I'm not going to say I'm a reformed people pleaser. I am trying my best to get out of it, especially at work. I tend to over people please. And so I want you to think about where did you prioritize other people's peace and happiness over your own? So we've gotten honest with ourselves. We've thought about whether the quarter was easy or was it busy. And now I want you to think about the actions that you took and what actions you took that actually moved the needle forward. Because there were some actions that you took in quarter 2 that were it was just busy work. Or it didn't move you anywhere towards where you're trying to go. But there were some actions that you took in quarter 1 that, girl, we got to clap it up because those are the actions that are going to move you closer to your goals. Some of those things that you didn't move you anywhere. They just look good on paper. And those are the things that I need you to stop doing like yesterday. Stop doing right now. Bye. Bye. Let it go. And then I want you to do an audit of your time. I'm gonna tell you where mine went. Y'all, I just watched what did I just watch? On Netflix. I watched Virgin River. Finished watching Virgin River on Netflix, and they had me crying for strangers on the TV. Like whoever the writers did their job. So some of my time went to Netflix. Where did your time go? I've told you all before that my son is a um theater actor, so a lot of my time went to making sure that he got where he needed to go. Um, so I want you to think about where your time went. And if there are any tasks that you did in the day that you're like, I didn't really like that, those are your tasks that either number one, you've got to create some type of system around so that they don't take all of your time. And you also need to figure out where you can automate, excuse me, what it is that you can automate. I said systematize. I was going to say automatize, but that's not a word. What can you systematize and what can you automate? And once you've figured out what you can systematize and what you can automate, there are some things that you have decided that you're going to create a system for, but those things are not moving you anywhere other than you're moving slow. So those are the things that you might not need a system for right now. Not saying that it's not important, but for the level of which you are operating, a system right now is not necessary. So you're going to want to decide, what do you need a system for, or what do you not need a system for right now? And if there's a system that you need, it's time to sit down and create it. I want to pause right here for a second, because when I say systems, some people get confused. When I say systems, some people are like, "Oh yeah, technology." And systems have a different definition. So you absolutely need, you don't need, you may need some form of technology to make your systems easier, but a system is simply a repeatable process. So, what is the thing that you need to do over and over and over and over again? Maybe it is, so me and my therapist have been talking about my wake up time, and girl, why you wake up so early? And so when I get up, I have one of those Hatch alarm clocks. And so the alarm clock starts to go off. I think right now I have it set for 4:30, but I told her I was going to move it back to 4 o'clock, but we were not getting up any earlier than 4 a.m. because sometimes I'd be pushing it, and I'd be I'd be looking at 3:30 in the face. Like, hey girl, like what you doing, girl? Hey, and that's not cute. But with the Hatch alarm clock, I have it set so that 30 minutes before I'm supposed to get up, it starts to gradually light up. And then right on 4:30 for right now, on the dot, it goes off. And so when it goes off, not only does it go off at 4:30, I have a light set in my bedroom so that it cuts on at 4:30. I had to put my lamps on timers, and we use mainly the lamps in our house anyway. So I had to put my lamps on timers because I knew that for me, if it wasn't on a timer, it was a good opportunity or a good chance that I was going to go to sleep with all the lights on. And that's actually what was happening. Not because I didn't feel like turning them off, but because I would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get up and turn that light off in a minute," and the minute never came. And I would be so tired, or I would just like fall out asleep in the bed, and I'm like, "Oh dang, I didn't slept with the lights on all night, running up the electric bill. That's not cute." So I have 3 lamps in my house that are on timers in the main rooms that we use. There's a lamp in my living room, a lamp in my bedroom, and a lamp right here in the home office, and they cut on and cut off on a timer. That is a system. So when that lamp cuts on and that alarm clock goes off, I know it's time to get up, go make my coffee, sit down for devotional, spend some quiet time with the Lord, and then get ready for the day. And do my Duolingo, because I am not going to break that streak anymore. No more streak freezes for me, okay? We're going all in on learning that Espanol. So when I'm talking about a system, it's just something that you do over and over and over again. The system itself is not the technology. The technology, like in my morning routine, the lamps cutting on by themselves and the alarm clocks lighting up, the technology enhances the system, but the system could work without those pieces of technology. So I want you to think about your systems. Systems, again, are just repeatable processes, the things that we do over and over and over. I think some of us get overwhelmed by the idea and the thought of a system because we're overwhelmed by the idea of technology. And so when we're overwhelmed by the idea of technology, the whole thought about, oh, I need systems confuses us. But again, your system is not the technology. The technology enhances, the system. So the next question that I want you to ask after you have figured out where your time went, I want you to think about those obstacles. And you've heard me talk about obstacles before. What got in your way? And so I want you to think about the obstacles that you ran into as you were moving and shaking in Q2. Was it procrastination? Was it being inconsistency? Did fear find you? Where did you shrink or where did you play small in Q1? What excuses did you make? And I wanted to end before we get into talking about Q2. I wanted us to really dive into gratitude. Gratitude. We have got to spend some time daily, really, thanking God for all that He's done for us, but also thinking about what went well and hyping ourselves up. We tend to focus so much on the negative that when it's time to think about the positive, we often revert back to the negative. We spend so much time thinking about the negative stuff that is happening around us that we tend to struggle coming up with the good. So I want you to you didn't done all the negative in your deep reflection before you get into this section of the workbook. So I want you to think about what are you grateful for? And what wins did you have in Q1, even if they were small? No win is too small. No win is too small. You can do it all. Okay? Y'all didn't know I was a rapper. I got bars. Think about what you're proud of. Think about what lessons you learned because there is a lesson in everything. And then finally, I want you to think about what needs to change. So we've done a deep dive and thought clearly about Q1. So now that we know what we did in Q1, now we've got to think about and adjust and make some shifts and some changes in Q2. But if we hadn't have done the audit in Q1, then we wouldn't know what we need to adjust in Q2. So this is the point where I want you to think about how you are going to realign your life and your goals and your decisions in Q2 so that they match and they enhance what happened in Q1. So when you're thinking about Q2, I want you to think about what needs to change. You already know what needs to change because we done looked at a little bit of everything, okay? And then after you figure out what you need to change, I want you to think about what you need more of, what you need less of, and then who is the woman that you need to become in order to make your Q2 goals happen? And we cannot forget to think about support. So once we've become this woman, or as we are becoming this woman, what support do you need? Do you have an accountability pod? Do you have a coach? Do you have a mentor? Do you have somebody where you can share this with so that as you are moving throughout the quarter, you can make sure that you stay aligned? All right, so that is our Q2, excuse me, Q1 audit that we want to make sure that we are diving into before Tuesday. And if it's all, I mean, yeah, before Tuesday or by Tuesday. But if we've already gotten into Q2 and you're like, I ain't audited yet, still do your audit because you really want to think about you need that feedback so that you can move more intentional and more strategic in the next quarter. And if you are ready to be more strategic and more intentional in the next quarter, I am hosting a 5-day five. We're going to be together for 5 days right here on YouTube, unless, of course, you decide to join my VIP. But we're going to be together for 5 days where we are going to get back into alignment with what God has called us to do so that we can make our goals and make our dreams happen. We are going to be creating the systems that are going to support our lives. I think that's where a lot of us mess up. A lot of us mess up because you build the system first, or you build the thing first, and then you try to fit your life around the thing. That's not how it works. Mm-mm. Nope, that is not how it works. God called you to live your life in such a way. So, first, you live the life, you do the life, and then you build the thing to support the life that you've been called to live. So, over 5 days, we are going to be getting crystal clear on what it is, number one, that we want and the life that we've been called to live. And then we're going to work on building the systems that will support the life that we have been called to live. And that is the 5 day realignment challenge. It's going to be a whole vibe. When you register, you get instant access. So I'm not going to just be like, "Oh yeah, girl, we doing this challenge or this experience April 20th through the 24th, and it's only March 29th." And you're like, and I got to remember that. Absolutely not. So as soon as you join, you're going to get an email from me, and that email is going to give you a link to join our private community. You get instant access to the private community so that you can start getting your support now. And if you want, you can drop, after you reflected on your audit, you can drop your questions or drop some of the things that came up for your from your audit into that community space before we even get into the actual experience April 20th through the 24th. And then and then I'm going to give you the opportunity to upgrade to VIP. VIP, we coming up off of YouTube, honey. We're going to be in the Zoom room together every day for those 5 days, and you get a couple other things too. Some other goodies are in there for my VIP folks. So you want to make sure that you hop on the 5 day realignment challenge happening April 20th through the 24th. It's going to be an entire vibe. And I cannot wait to let the Lord use me to encourage you as you create the systems and the things that you need to live your most aligned life and to build your most purpose driven business. All right, y'all, that is it for this evening. Don't let the pollen take you out, girl. Don't let it take you out because it's awful out here. Don't let it take you out. Get your system for your allergy ness, and I will see you in the next one.